Welcome to the podcast. I have my good friend. He is the co-founder of Spheron.
Quick disclaimer, we have only for informational purposes, and any views expressed by anyone on the show are solely our opinions and not financial advice. Jax and our guests may hold positions in the companies, funds, or projects discussed. Please do your own research.
Real quick, if nobody's ever heard of this project, break them down. What you guys are building?
It's quite simple. It's programmable compute, we call it. So essentially means like the way you transfer your fund from one place to another. What if you execute the same transaction, you get the compute out of the box? So that's what we are building at Spheron. So let's say everything around compute, just execute transaction in a pure Web3 native way and get the compute out and do whatever inside you want to.
Now, people that are listening, maybe they're Web2 developers and they're like, I got Google Web Services, I got AWS, I got all these things. Like, why build on Web3?
A lot of things. I think this question I received when I was coming into Web3 as well, 5 years back. And the answer which I received, like the people like us, are free, permissionlessly to build whatever they wish to. They can go and open way community fundraise and do tons of other things which you can never get in Web2. The other thing is the censorship part. You are not going to get censored by anyone. You are not giving your fate to a single entity to decide where you are going to be heading towards. And the fourth and the most important part is like, it's dirt cheap to rent GPUs here. It's like you don't even have to go ahead and pay a hefty price to even lease it out. So why not come here and hang around with the Web3 folks?
Absolutely. Well, right now we're at a decentralized AI conference. So talk to us a little bit about like how you guys help enable decentralized AI.
I think we are the foundational layer of DI because DI requires the D compute, we call it. And we basically broken down into programmable compute. So we allow community like you, if you have a laptop at your house, please go ahead and connect to Spheron. The same way goes with anyone else who is looking forward. So you can connect your laptop, connect to any machine, even if it is a data center or whatever, and get an access. We basically allow that access to end customers. So it can be anyone. It can be researchers who might be looking forward this compute and they want this at a cheaper cost. Now you basically resell your compute to somebody else who is in need of it. So it's all community driven and peer-to-peer approach of like DAI. It's a pure ethos of DAI.
Absolutely. I know you guys are working with OpenLedger. Can you talk to us a little bit about what you guys are working with there?
Yeah. So basically OpenLedger has developed a tech called OpenLoRA. So what it essentially allows is to kind of like switch multiple models in a single GPU. So imagine I have leased out a GPU called 4090s from Spheron Network. If there's OpenLoRA, which is OpenLedger stuff, which is already deployed. So you can essentially use the same GPU to switch the models. For example, today, if you have to use 70B, 7B, and all of these things, every time you have to go and deploy an entire instance in the single model, which is tricky. But let's say if I'm testing, why I should be paying for, like every time I'm paying for heavier model and heavier price, why can't we just switch the model and I should be able to use it? So that's where we are kind of looking forward to like integrate with OpenLoRA, with OpenLedger.
Now, one thing is a lot of people hear about AI, decentralized AI, and they're like, this is kind of spooky. Give us some exciting things that you're looking forward to that you feel like AI will really enable.
The productivity is going to be like skyrocketing down the lines. For example, if I was not a trader earlier, now I can basically trade any stock, whatever I wish to. The reason being because it's quite simple. Now I can go to AI and I can say, hey, tell me which stock is good to trade. And I'm not going to watch 1 hour video to basically learn how to do that. That's one part. The second part is the research. Right, the research is where we have to go and like go ahead and read a lot of these PDFs and understand like what exactly inside it. What if I just use an agent and it just tells me all of those stuff? So that's where I'm very excited about is like the agentic framework. But the most place where I'm bullish about is how about these agents are able to manage their own infrastructure. Right, so they can lease out compute, they can deploy anything on top of it, they can achieve a certain output by just giving certain commands and all of those stuff. So that's where we are also very focused on building at Spheron, and we are excited to kind of like push that forward.
Yeah, so it was funny, I was talking with David from the Lit protocol, and he was thinking that in the future, like we have this app paradigm where we go on our phone, we open up an app. Do you think we'll just open up like specific agents, or do you think this will all be abstracted? What do you think is the future there?
Both.
Yeah.
I would not say in one direction because it's never one directional. Tech is always multi-directional. Like everyone has their own different approach. For us, it's like there will be two. It is going to be a co-pilot mode and automated mode. So if anyone wants to fly a flight in autopilot, they can put an autopilot and it just flies. but it can also will be given an opportunity to end user to make it co-pilot so that they don't go rogue, because these agents are still in a very early days and we don't want to be like behaving maliciously.
Absolutely. So one question we always ask is, we have a lot of builders and founders that are aspiring founders that listen to the podcast. What's one startup idea that you think could be really big in Web3?
I think optimize for the maintenance of these agents. Just imagine we are going to be having, like, if we hear the Jensen recent speech, he told that people will be hiring HRs to basically manage the agents. But what if we hire agents to manage the agents? Right? It's a very, very crazy stuff which is going to be happening. Like, we are going to see 90% close to cost reduction in terms of DevOps cost, which is a very, very heavy cost, right? So that's where I see that if somebody is building that, it's going to add a humongous value into the entire ecosystem.
Yeah. And finally, where can people learn more about you and your project?
It's very simple. Just go to Google, type Spheron Network, or if you're not a Google fan, go to any other browsers, whatever you use. Just type Spheron.network. This is where you can find us. And then you can also go to Twitter. Our Twitter handle is Spheron FDN. Or you can go to LinkedIn. We are Spheron Network on LinkedIn, but we are very good in SEO. So basically, you can just type on Google, you will find us.
Perfect. Or Perplexity.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Perplexity also finds us. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.